imagine that under normal circumstances, governments would use two tools to manage the population. First tool is compulsion, obviously. So that's legislation and enforcement of such legislation, police or whatever, policing. And the second tool is rational argument. So you would think that if you explain to people and give them all the reasons why they should behave in a certain way, they would willingly and consciously change their behavior. Like, for example, if you use various media channels to explain people that plastic pollution is causing damage, people would willingly choose to alter their behavior. So those two are kind of tools that you would expect governments to use. They're perfectly legitimate and reasonable. However, another tool is that they're using is this behavioral science approach, and we started this discussion just before we hit record button on talking about behavioral insights team, which works with the government, and they started their existence in 2010 with 7 people team. Now apparently they expanded into massive multinational organization. So yeah, those are the people who design and help rolling out the strategies that target our tiny limbic brains on the level that we don't even notice or realize.
Thing is, I can't. So I looked at, so you brought them to my attention actually, and I had a read through their, the different strategies or techniques, and I had a look on their website as well actually. And but I mean, reading through those sort of techniques they use, I don't know. I mean, to me, it wasn't rocket science. I mean, to me, all of those things, it's almost like psychology 101. You could honestly, you could pick all that up in the first year. Just one module of a first year psychology degree, or even in a psychology A level. Probably you could teach all that in a psychology GCSE actually. It's certainly not rocket science. And I just read all that and I thought, wow, what a racket that is. I mean, they're paying these people, I bet, they pay through the nose for these consultants, right? They probably charge on average £1,000 a day or whatever. And I was thinking, well, I could have told the government all that for a lot less money.
But could you?
Yes, I could have done easily. But I wouldn't want to have done though, because it goes against the grain of the sort of person I am, right? So I wouldn't do that. I suppose if I was desperate for the money, I might do it, but I'll be selling my soul to pay for my dinner.
Just because it is simple, it doesn't mean it's not effective. Quite the opposite. It doesn't need to be complicated.
No, it is effective.
If you look at each of these very basic principles and think how you might be affected by them, you will understand how effective they are, because we're all subject to these drivers, because they're deeply rooted in our brain. They go back to millions of years of evolution. They're almost impossible to resist.